All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I am Brian Wright.
And together, we're the Wright Stew podcast. Here we are, Brian. We've got a couple less teams in the NFL. We had a couple of divisional round games last night. The Chiefs beat the Texans, and then kind of stunningly, the Commanders beat the Lions, and a little bit of a boat race, and just man, what an exciting game to watch if you're a big fan of offense. So actually, let's start with the second game. Let's start with that Commanders Lions game. What were your big takeaways from that one?
I mean, no different. I mean, obviously, turnovers. The Lions had 3, and so I mean that's the difference.
4 turnovers.
End up having 4,
Yeah.
3 when it was still a competitive game, and so that's the reality of it is if you have turnovers, that's you're just giving extra possessions. It's like in baseball, giving teams extra innings to hit. I mean, it's just
it's extra as errors in baseball, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think and ultimately it's one of probably the biggest determining factor whether you win or lose. And then Jalen Daniels took advantage of it. McLaurin, he's a stud. I mean, they just got guys, really well constructed team. But really, it's going to look like they did boat race them. But like you said, 4 turnovers. That's the difference in the game. I mean,
Is Jaden Daniels? I mean, I know we like to talk about this and put guys in groups and tiers and categories. I mean, after one season, like, has he worked his way up the charts? Is he? I mean, at least we can't put him in the first tier, right? But is he making his way to that second tier? I think clearly he's in the third tier easily. But is he in that second tier? I think the first tier we're putting Mahomes is just a different thing. Then I think we have like your Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. And then clearly Jaden Daniels is in that next group. But is he working his way to that second tier?
Well, I think he's, and it depends on how big your tiers are.
Yeah.
You could almost put Mahomes in his own, even though
he's in his own little separate bubble.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of gets my nerves with the flopping. I feel like I'm watching NBA basketball.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, sliding late, getting penalties. It's just like, dude, come on.
We'll get there. We'll get there, Brian. Let's stick with the Commanders and Lions for now.
Well, I think I saw early on, again, all the tools to make all the throws.
Yeah.
Good enough athlete to get out of most situations. And the big thing that's hard to determine, poise, and like that heartbeat when everything's kind of on the line, or at least it feels like it's on the line. And Jalen has that. And I feel like teams, and this is another hard thing to come up with and see in advance. Teams take on personalities of 2 people, your head coach and your quarterback.
Yeah.
And it feels like golf may have that, hey, really good player, but if he gets rattled,
yeah. And he got hit
kind of tight situation.
Yeah, he got hit on that one interception, kind of knocked him around a little bit. And that is interesting because we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Both Campbell and Quinn, ultra aggressive. And
yeah,
it's almost like it kind of reminded me of the old, remember the Friday Night Lights when they played in that championship game and the team from Dallas didn't punt or didn't kick all year. They were going for all 2-point conversions, never punted. That was almost like some advanced analytics stuff that was going on way back in the day. Like, oh, we don't need to punt. That's what Quinn and Campbell almost feel like. It's like, don't worry about third. We're going for it on fourth. Let's just try to make it more manageable. And the Commanders went for it several times on 4th down, and that could have swayed the game because they ultimately scored points off of that.
And there's a time or 2 they didn't get it, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference where you got 4 downs. If you have that mindset as a player, you can be a little looser and feel like you can be a little more aggressive on some plays because you know you have another down and you're not going to necessarily punt. And clearly, if it's 4th and 13 or 4th and 7, longer. But these were all 4th and 3 or less.
Hey, think about it. Hey, was Quinn that way when he was with the Falcons? Or, I mean, I've watched the Commanders, Washington, this year, but I don't remember him being quite this aggressive. It almost feels like he knows he's playing with house money, and it's like, hey, we're going to do everything we can to go win this thing. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
And maybe his confidence in his quarterback has grown. Maybe
yeah,
there's that relationship, and the quarterback say, "Hey, we can do this." So the last time the Commanders were in the NFC title game was 1991, where oddly enough they actually beat the Detroit Lions in that championship game. So
wow.
I was still a big Redskins fan at the time, having just moved to North Carolina from Northern Virginia, and that was the old Mark Rippon, Art
Yeah.
Monk, Gary Clark, Gerald Riggs was the running back on that team. And that team eventually went on to play Buffalo and beat Buffalo in the Super Bowl. So so I know a lot of people in DC, Northern Virginia, Maryland are just going bonkers up there. And I do remember, so I was in Northern Virginia for the 1987 Super Bowl with the Doug Williams and Timmy Smith and that one. And I remember very distinctly, I was in fourth grade. Our music teacher taught us "Hail to the Redskins," like the anthem of the team.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I thought as like a little 9-year-old Paul Stewart, like, oh, this is just like curriculum. You learn "Hail to the Redskins" in fourth grade. I thought people like in
Everywhere was
California
doing
were
that.
learning "Hail to the Redskins," and then looking back, it's like, oh, my music teacher was just a nut and loved the Redskins.
Oh, dude, that is awesome. That's the kind of
Yes.
fans you need. I saw on TikTok before it went black last night.
Ooh, done. Yeah.
I saw on TikTok like Redskins fans were like, "Hey, I don't know how to act whenever
Yeah.
my team's good, right?" And it's like I didn't realize it had been that long since they had been to
Yeah,
the NFC
I didn't either.
Championship.
It's exciting. I know everybody up in that area is, and across the country. Redskins have a pretty good national, or the Commanders have a pretty good national following. So you had mentioned the Chiefs and Texans a little bit, and there was some articles, some interviews about Patrick Mahomes. Are we? Is it Mahomes, the Chiefs, and the refs versus the Texans in the NFL? So there were a couple of controversial plays. One where Mahomes got hit maybe a touch late, but they said it was forcible contact to the head, but it looked like he just kind of got pushed in the chest. And then there was the one where you can definitely tell Mahomes play baseball. He's great at sliding, and he can get
He
down
can do it
quick.
anytime. He can do it
Yeah.
anytime.
And the one play when he was kind of running, it kind of turned back, dropped down really quick. The defenders were going after him, and the defenders, it looked like, actually ran into each other more so than anything. Got the flag on, and both plays led to scoring drives. So they scored 10 total points on those two drives. And it's really tough. And we've heard the NFL, and we've heard conspiracy theories all year. Like, hey, are the refs? I mean, are they really protecting this guy that much? And then there was a couple of interviews that came out from Texans players saying, like, what can we do?
Well, and they were like, "Hey, we knew we were going to play against Kansas City Chiefs, their fans, and the referees." And I don't love it. I can see both sides of this. I really can. I mean, I'm pulling against Kansas City. I know you like teams to keep winning forever and build this big legacy, but I can see both sides of it. First of all, Mahomes is just playing within the rules of the game.
Yeah,
Change the rules if you don't like the results of the rulings. The rulings really should be slide late like that, 15-yard penalty on the quarterback.
yeah,
Um,
that's interesting.
if you know flop going out, now he didn't get the call, but if you flop
Yeah,
going
he
out,
tried the one. It was close on that one. I
it,
thought they were gonna get the flag on that one as
I thought
well.
they were too. But if you
And you
flop,
saw the defender immediately raise his hands in the air, like, "Hey, whoa, whoa!" Like it was
yeah,
almost like a basketball, like you said, like a basketball play. But we were watching some of the Chiefs game together yesterday,
mm-hmm.
and you kind of saw that happen where Mahomes was sliding late. And it's like, gosh, man, like
There's not a whole
that is
lot the
tough.
defender
And I
can do.
asked you, as a defender, you're going a million miles an hour out there. You're going, and we saw a play where it was actually CJ Stroud that did it, where the defender almost like just checked up. It was almost playing flag football because he's like, if I go in to hit him and he slides, I'm getting flagged. But I've also got to try to just keep him in front of me. And the quarterbacks, now we've talked about it, so fast and so good and so athletic. It's like, it's really tough for the defenders. And we mentioned like the 1991 teams, the Redskins. you can't play defense like they used to. Like there's
Oh no, no,
can't
no.
hit
Or
guys.
yeah,
There's a lot more, and you see like forcible contact penalty. Like what? Like that's what you're supposed to do, right? Like hit guys. But yeah, I agree with you, Brad. That's an interesting thought. Like if you want to make it different, change the rule. Like
yeah.
penalize the
I mean,
quarterback.
I don't blame Patrick. Patrick
Yeah,
is
yeah,
smart and he knows how to play within the rules of the game. I would say really the evolution of the quarterback, like a Jalen Daniels, like a Lamar, have really evolved because of the rule changes. Like 20 years ago, those guys, they're running the option. The reason they didn't ever run the option is because your quarterback would get hit, 40 more times a game.
yeah, a million
And
times.
everything, I mean, at least, I don't know if it's 20%, 25% of the Commanders' plays were RPO type action plays
Yeah, yeah,
where he's going there, he can give it, he can run it, or he can pass it. And so the rules have allowed for the college game to transition because if you had Jalen getting hit the way he got hit last week once as he was running out of bounds every play, which he would,
yeah,
and allowed these 300 pound guys to put full body weight like they always used to, and allow these guys with no restrictions to hit above shoulders, he wouldn't make it through a half.
yeah.
So the rules have allowed for more
More, yeah,
dynamic
less
plays.
contact, more quarterback, and again, that's what fans want to see. I guess that's what
Isn't
the
it? I don't
information
know, dude.
tells them.
I don't know.
Well, they're not changing
Yeah.
every sport legitimately. Baseball changes rules for more offense. Basketball changes rules for more offense. Football changes rules for more offense. Clearly, the numbers are telling them
Golden
something,
batter, golden
right?
batter. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So congratulations to both the Chiefs and Commanders. And then two games today. So the first one is the Rams at the Eagles. So I'll give you a couple
Hey,
lines.
Paulie, real quick, real
Yeah.
quick. Hey, is there not any like nostalgia in you that still pulls for the Commanders?
A little bit, not a ton. I mean, I've kind of fully converted to a Carolina Panthers fan now. Uh,
If they were still called the Redskins, would you kind of feel a
Probably
little bit
more
more?
so if they're called the Redskins. Yeah, it feels like a whole different just organization slash franchise sort of thing. I still a little bit of nostalgia for the old skins for sure, but I fully converted to a Carolina Panthers fan now. Maybe if Joe Gibbs came back and put the headphones on,
Gosh,
maybe.
he's got to be 100 years old now. I mean,
Yeah, he's probably more concerned about NASCAR or whatever it is. But yeah, so nah, I mean, I'll watch the game. Maybe I'll pull for him. I'll see if
yeah,
he.
you're a fan of sport, but you don't feel that. Like yesterday, were you
I
pulling
don't
for
feel that.
Detroit?
I was pulling for Detroit a little bit actually because it feels like they've been out of it longer, but it seems like them and the Commanders have been kind of bad for the same amount of time. So,
Yeah.
um,
Anyway, all right,
so yeah,
let's move on. Yeah.
so Rams Eagles. First game today. The Eagles are a 7-point favorite, so this game's in Philadelphia. The weather, we're gonna be low 30s. We're gonna have snows in the forecast, so it's gonna be cold. One of those kind of fun football games to watch. Rams come in off a big win last week. We know all the stuff going on outside of football. What are your thoughts, Brian? Do you see a favor? Are the Eagles gonna be able to cover that 7-point spread? Or are they gonna see a little more of a challenge from Matt Stafford and team?
Well, I think McVay, Stafford, you think about best head coach, best quarterback, and I give both of those things a slight edge to uh, to the Rams. But on the flip side, running back in that weather, offensive line, everything else, you may give a slight edge or a big edge to the Eagles. And
Yeah,
so 7 points, I think, is too much. I think we would have won our bets yesterday. We'd have to go back and look at the tape. I'm pretty sure we were taking we expected Detroit to win, but we were expected the Commanders to cover.
yeah.
And so there was a late little weird cover with it was 9.5. Then they took that safety late with Kansas City, screwed up a bunch of people at the end of that game. I mean,
All you
I was texting
degenerate
with people.
gamblers out there.
Yeah, you got slammed probably for both ways, but no,
Yeah, that's
if
funny.
7 points, I'm taking the Rams. I mean, too good of players. The Rams finally healthy. Put it together. Probably one of their first complete games at all last week when it
And the
mattered.
first time they've been really healthy for a while as well.
Yeah,
Nakua came back and
there's a
Stafford
lot
got
of.
it.
They've got weapons and they got a good coach and they got a good quarterback. Can they stop Barkley enough? Can they? It's going to be a very similar offense that Jalen has ran with the Commanders, just an RPO type offense, and so you got to be able to put something in place to be able to do that. But if they can, I really think the Rams definitely cover. But
Yeah, the real question, Brian, what's AJ Brown going to be doing on the sidelines this week? Is he reading books? Is he going to be
well,
doing
he's probably.
crochet?
Hey, so you probably saw that he made that guy a millionaire. Like the
Oh
guy
yeah,
who wrote that book, I don't know if you saw this. I think he said he lost money on that book deal. I'm not sure how that's possible. I know normally they give advances. Maybe it was self-published, or maybe it's published in a way that he didn't make money unless they sold enough. So until he did that, that guy had lost money on that book project. And then it was the number one bestseller on Amazon. So
yeah,
there may be a different marketing that happens. I don't know if the NFL allows that because the NFL wants a piece whenever anytime you
yeah.
sell
They're
something.
pretty.
But he should be reading the same book. Or
Do you
if he goes
think?
to
Do you
another
think he
one,
could wear a like a Wright Stew podcast sweatshirt out there?
it would blow us up, dude. Blow us up.
Hey, so if you haven't heard, we got a merch shop now. Go check us out. Get you
Yeah.
get you a sweatshirt for these cold winter days coming up. So yeah, that'll be fun to watch.
Who do you like, Paulie? Who do you like?
I, I was reading a lot of Matt Sirianni. Sorry, not Matt Sirianni, former catcher with the Milwaukee Brewers organization, not the head coach, Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni takes a lot of heat from traditional media.
But had a lot of success.
A lot of success. And you read about the articles and the interviews, and the players are always like just such a caring individual, like genuinely cares about his team as people, right? And that goes a long way. And so I think the guys are really buying into him and investing into who he is as a coach, as a leader, and it means a lot to him. So, and then, I mean, you have Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the NFL, and a game like
Are
this one.
you putting him above Derrick Henry, above King Henry?
Yeah,
Finally,
I mean, well, if you look at yardage and you look at, and then we talked about Saquon Barkley feels like that type of guy. Like you put him on the football field, he's going to find every like, hey Saquon, we need you to play DB. You got it, coach. I'm going to do it.
yeah.
We need you to rush for 3 yards and then slide because we don't want you to go about. You got it. Like he is the ultimate team player and physically gifted enough to do a lot of things that most people can. So I don't. So this season, yes, I'm putting him ahead of Derrick Henry. Um, but I like the Eagles in this one. Again, I think it'll be a close game, a 2-3 point game. But I don't think it'll be very high score. I think it'll be very kind of ground game with kind of the weather and that sort of thing. But I like the Eagles in this one for sure. And then so the second game, and I think the one that everybody's been looking forward to, and they put it in the prime time spot, the late game. Baltimore at Buffalo. So again, Buffalo already snow going on now. Continued lake effect snow warnings. Temperatures in the teens. Supposed to be cloudy, dreary, just kind of what you would expect on in Buffalo on January 19th. So not great weather. And we talked about this last week. And so Baltimore is a 1 point favorite. And I think that kind of stuff helps. I mean, as long as they can get the right cleats, get the right traction. I mean, Baltimore's got Justice Hill and Derrick Henry and of course Lamar Jackson. I mean, maybe that run game just again it's could turn into one of those 17-14 kind of 16-13 kind of wonky score games. But again, I mean, it could end up being in the mid 30s, right? So I don't know who has the advantage here, man. This is going to be a real exciting one to watch.
Yeah, I think it's coin flip, and I think you think about Derrick Henry almost like some kind of snow plow. I don't think like all weather conditions are acceptable for him to be successful.
Yeah.
You kind of think of the same way with Josh Allen, like he's kind of the quarterback version of that. You feel like Lamar is more the Lambo or the Ferrari, where if the turf is good, he can be better than everybody else
Whatever
athletic.
he wants to be, yeah.
And so it is an interesting dynamic that it's really Josh Allen and Derrick Henry with bad weather. I think they still have really great games. And then I think it really comes down to turnovers again. And if you go better defense, the Ravens defense is probably slightly better, even though Buffalo's done some good things here and there. So they got obviously a little aging defense on the ends with Von Miller and some injuries on the outside on some corners and different positions. But I feel like the defense, I'd give a slight edge defense, maybe not even slight edge, an edge for the Ravens defense. Quarterback is really a flip of a coin, and running back, you're going to have to give an edge to the Ravens. Receiver, you probably give an edge to the Ravens with Andrews and the big thing is does Flowers get back? I think he was kind of a game time decision. He was kind of banged up, which he was kind of their deep threat. And so a coin flip, I wouldn't bet it unless I'm a complete addict at this point, because it doesn't feel like it truly is a coin flip.
Yeah, man. That's the one I'm most excited to watch for all weekend. So we'll be geared up watching for that one. So we threw out a challenge yesterday to our community, our listening audience. We called it 50 and 15. So our goal is to reach all 50 states in 15 days. So we got an update for you. We added 3 new states yesterday: Idaho, Colorado, and Western by God, Virginia. So good things going on. We appreciate that. So if you're a listener, hey, share this with people in your circle, people who are in different states. And so we have visibility into that from the traditional podcast. On YouTube, it's a little trickier. So if you're listening on YouTube or you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and post in the comments where you're at, because we don't want to miss a state. So we have some analytics, but it's a little tougher to decipher. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you type in the comment where you're listening from, and we'll get you added to the state list. So we'll pop up a map on YouTube as well with the updated numbers. And then we've seen stuff flying off the shelf with the merch shop. So we appreciate you guys getting some of those hoodies and sweatshirts.
That may be a little bit of a strong,
Well, flying off the shelf, like it depends on how you grab it off the shelf, and it's flying, right? So there's been some movement. All right, is that fair?
Yeah.
It's a movement. So, hey, make sure you check out the merch shop. A lot of cool gear in there, and we'll continue to add as we continue to grow. So we appreciate the support from that perspective as well. Brian, any other thoughts or general things to share about the game yesterday or today?
I know there's a lot of people in mourning because of TikTok. My daughter was in shock that it actually got shut down. I saw it. Me and you were texting back and forth later last night, and it shut down. There are other platforms. I don't know what that one does so well. There's some weird live stuff that happens on that I'm still not understanding how that is appealing, but clearly it has a great market that I'm unfamiliar with. So anyway, check us out. I do believe TikTok comes back in some form or another eventually, but it's going to take some time. But we're on other platforms, and really our longer form is other places.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we really weird. I think we all saw it coming, but it's interesting on the note that's on TikTok right now. It says, "We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned." So it doesn't feel like Trump would be the guy who's like worried about TikTok, but he is the guy that got banned from Twitter or X or whatever it is, and
right.
So maybe he's the most social media friendly president we've had or will ever have. So that maybe I guess he doesn't need votes anymore, but that would give him a lot of votes for the younger generation. I'd imagine if he brings TikTok back, he'll be a hero.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, well, enjoy those games today. Thanks for listening. Check out the merch. We'll talk to you soon.
Out. Go Pack.